Hey, friends. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Hey, Miss King and Patricia. How are you guys? Where's everybody at? Everybody's probably like, is she going live today? Well, yes, I am. Yes, I am. So, today was a wonky day. I'll just say that. It wasn't super wonky. Sorry. I got my hair, man. It's just, oh, God, it's killing me. It's like, shedding season for me. Super fuzzy too because I didn't blow dry it and straighten it or do anything with it after my shower today. But hello. Good. I'm glad you're good. Glad you're good, Miss King. So today was the kiddo's first day back to school. She did great. She's tired. She's hungry. So she ate as soon as she came in. Oh, you're off work today? Yay. Nice. Nice. That's awesome. So you guys got a long weekend, huh? Very cool. What did you guys do over the weekend? What did everybody do over the weekend? Anyway, kiddo went back to school. She was super pumped, super excited. And teacher updated me halfway through the day and was like, "She is fine." She said she could tell as the day went on that she was getting a little more tired, but she said she hung through it. The bad thing is that she has quite a long bus ride to school and home from school, both ways. So, um, but yeah, she had a good day. Good day. I missed her all day long. All day long. I was like, I wish she was here. And I waited by the phone in case, she needed me for anything. And she did not. So that's good. That's good. I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad. So, anyway, we'll see how the rest of the week goes. Wednesday, we're supposed to get really bad weather. We got really bad weather yesterday. Of course, it was not as bad as it could have been. Um, the weather was like not nearly as bad as it could have been. Thank you, God. Um, but Wednesday, we'll see what happens on Wednesday. We may need an arc on Wednesday. I'm just saying. Yes, she's my baby. Hey, Morgana. Yes, it is, Miss King. You're right. It absolutely is. It is. It is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're supposed to have a lot more bad storms come through Wednesday and lots of rain. So, funsy. I hope nobody here was affected by the storms. Oof, that went through yesterday and last night. I hope not. All right, are you guys ready to talk about some Bryan Kohberger again today? I am ready to talk about this. So, I know that we had talked about that mask. Um, we had talked about the kind of mask that Dylan Mortensen kept talking about, right? Because she kept saying she could see his eyes, she could see his eyebrows, but it covered like his nose and mouth, and everybody just kept envisioning like the regular ski mask, right? With the two eye holes. But that's not what we have. That's not what we have. This is the kind of mask that we're talking about. Those are some big bushy eyebrows. That's not Bryan Kohberger though. That's not Bryan Kohberger. But that's the sort of mask that we envision he has. Now, or had used allegedly. The mouth I don't think was there though. I don't think that it had a mouthpiece like this. But anyway, I know, right? I always want to call it a baklava too. It's a balaclava. Somebody said the same thing. I was watching somebody's video. Who was it I was watching? And they said they kept wanting to call it a baklava. I don't remember who that was. Balaclava. Anyway. So I wanted to share this. This is a Vinnie Politan. I want to kind of go over this. He posted this a couple days ago on the Court TV's YouTube channel. And when I was watching this, I saw Dylan Mortensen had actually drawn what she saw, right? And there's evidence that he purchased a mask like this from Dick's Sporting Goods. And I went through today because I couldn't remember, but I was looking through today and I got the list of items that was seized from his apartment and his parents' home. Now, we can take a look at those in a little bit. I'm just going through some of this stuff over here. Let me move my tab here so I have myself in order. Okay, and I'm going to share the screen. Make sure I share the screen. Aye. Patricia, since you're off work today, would you like to come up and chit chat for a little bit about this? I know you're all over this case. Would love for you to. And Miss King, you too, if you know, any of you guys want to come up and talk. Would love to talk about it with you. I'll drop you guys the link if you want it. Let me add this to the stage. And we're going to go ahead and get started on this. And we won't be playing the whole video. There's just a few little nuggets that I wanted to get through concerning this mask, okay? Let's do this. Let's go.
But it is the biggest retrial I have ever covered. But what we also have on the docket here at Court TV this year is what I believe is the biggest trial of this year.
Hey, Donnie.
Which is the one involving the murders of 4 University of Idaho students. And that story, that case, everything about it, it is the contrast between who the defendant is and who the victims were, and who the victims really still are in the hearts of their families, and the gravity of what happened, and the whole investigation, the evidence, putting the pieces together, and then trying to understand why this happened. All of it has made this what I believe will be the biggest trial of this year, which is a very big year on Court TV and in our criminal justice system. Now, so let's talk.
Yeah, you think about it, there's a whole lot of big trials going on, you know? We're going to have Kohberger. We're going to have Lori Vallow. The retrial of Karen Reed. Stephen Stearns. There's a lot of big ones. And I'm sure, well, Adelson, isn't that going to be coming up soon? I mean, so many big ones. So many big ones.
Talk about this case. Let's talk about the suspect, the probable cause affidavit. As we get ready for this trial, which will happen in the summer, if you look at the probable cause affidavit, there is an eyewitness in this case, one of the surviving roommates. They refer to her as DM. It is Dylan. And she's
such a pretty girl, right? This is Dylan. This is Dylan Mortensen. She's the one that said, she's the one that was up all night. She's the one that saw the figure clad in black with the mask. She's the one that said he had the bushy eyebrows. She's the one that said, he said, it's okay, I'm going to help you. It's okay, I'm here to help you, or I'm going to help you, or whatever, you know. This is the one that we heard like hyperventilating on the phone during the 911 call, saying to the dispatcher, can I pretty much just tell you what happened last night? Well, pretty much this guy walked, you know, and the dispatcher's like, no, I need to know what's going on right now, not what happened last night. This is Dylan.
She saw the killer. DM stated she saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covers the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. Dylan described the figure as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. This is eyewitness testimony. Now, can she positively identify the defendant? Can she positively identify his bushy eyebrows? I don't know. But when she was interviewed on December 1st, 2022, she drew a picture of the mask.
There we go.
And that's a copy of the sketch that she did for investigators. Because there's all different types of masks that someone could be wearing, especially these days in the post-COVID world that we live in. There are all different types of masks, but that's a very specific one. And it's going to be an important piece of the evidence in the case and in the trial when it happens this summer. It's scheduled for August, jury selection. It's gonna be like a 3-month trial, much like what we're gonna have this spring with Karen Reed.
3 months. Can you imagine? Oh. Is that the baklava? Right, Tony? Yeah. Oh. That is the drawing that Dylan had, you know. But then he's going to have someone on here in a second that's going to talk more about this mask. So, yeah. Balaclava, I think. I don't know. It's weird, right?
So I want to bring in Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas, who has been going through some new court documents.
So he went through some new court documents. I don't know when said document that he is going through is one that we've already got, or if it's a newer one. I can't remember. I get so confused.
And has more for us tonight, specifically about the mask, right? This is a case where she doesn't see his face, but she sees a man with a mask. What is revealed in these new documents about the mask?
Well, these new documents, Vinny, are state documents, and pretty much in them, the state says they're relying for the trial heavily on self-authenticating evidence, or evidence that doesn't need further proof to say that it is what it is. And among that, they say that Kohberger purchased a black balaclava mask, a ski mask, about 10 months before those alleged murders occurred in January. Now, in that filing, it says, quote, "The relevance of this information is that Bryan Kohberger purchased a black balaclava from Dick's Sporting Goods on January 10th, 2022. This mask is the same type of mask described by DM, surviving roommate Dylan Mortensen, that she witnessed worn by a male in the residence on November 13th, 2022, and that would be the date of those alleged murders. And we also have the certificate of authenticity provided by investigators after consulting with representatives of Dick's Sporting Goods. Now, investigators after murders, and we also have the certificate of authenticity.
Okay. So this was the document, and they've got the highlighted portion of is what the guy just read. Let me see. Hold on just a second. Okay, Dick's Sporting Goods record of sale for Bryan Kohberger, and then there's a number. Right? These documents are maintained by a business. The state would seek admission of the documents pursuant to blah, blah, blah. The relevance of this information is that Bryan Kohberger purchased a black balaclava from Dick's Sporting Goods on January 10th, 2022. It's the same type of mask described. I can talk. I have words. This mask is the same type of mask described by DM that she witnessed worn by a male in the residence on November 13th, 2022. So, that's what, 10 months later? Now, they say here in a little bit, because I've heard some defense argue, like, well, it's not uncommon. And I think they even talk about it here in this clip that we're going to watch about how, those types of masks are not uncommon in that area in the wintertime, right? Black is a popular color. It wouldn't be, it wouldn't be unheard of for someone to have one or several of those types of masks in their car, in their house, whatever, it doesn't really matter, I guess. But when you put all of it together, it just is another little check mark for me. I don't know, Donnie. Donnie says premeditated. I don't know, because I think that he had bought the... Does anyone remember how long before the murders he had purchased the knife? I can't remember when he purchased it. I want to say it was like 8 months or something. But it could have been much shorter time frame. Do you remember, Patricia or Miss King? But honestly, though, I can't. Just looked it up. It's like a neoprene mask. Wasn't what I thought. Yeah, it looks more like this. Hold on and I'll show you. It has the opening for the eye holes. Oh, thank you, Kel. Thank you. Kel said he purchased the knife in March. So, yeah, it was 8 months then. So he purchased the knife 8 months before the actual murders. But I don't know how premeditated that would be. You know what I mean? I don't know. Is it a situation? Because in my mind, I'm kind of envisioning him like collecting all these little things And then once he's got everything he needs, then he's going to find his target, And he stumbled upon whatever reason, allegedly, to murder these 4 college kids. Donnie said, by itself, those are common in the area. However, like you said, everything together. Yeah. It's like, check, 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 check. Patricia says, I don't remember, but the countless other trips to the area of the house is also premeditation. In my mind, it is absolutely too. I think they said that it was like at least 12 times. Hey, Cherie. Hello, ma'am. Hello, good to see you. I hope you had a good weekend. Hope you had a great weekend. All right. Let's continue on a little bit.
Authenticity provided by investigators after consulting with representatives of Dick's Sporting Goods. Now,
So it's clear that he had purchased this type of mask. This, what do
Absolutely.
they call it, a balaclava?
balaclava. It's essentially a ski mask. What we know as a ski mask, limited visibility, your eyes are poking out, maybe bushy eyebrows are poking out on whoever Dylan Mortensen thinks she saw. But the interesting part about it, Vinny, is that we took that drawing and
Good
then
deal.
compared it to the masks that we searched on Dick's Sporting Goods website. And you can see here, there's her drawing on the left, and here's the collection of balaclava masks, ski masks on Dick's Sporting Goods website. We scroll through, as you see, there's a giant collection of them until we found a mask that somewhat matched her drawing and description. And you see it right there. There's the eye hole there you can look out. It covers mouth, covers the head, your typical ski mask. Now, what we did from there is we
Listen to
took that
this.
mask that we found, and then we took a picture of Bryan Kohberger. And then we put them next to each other and then superimposed them, the mask on his face,
This is
to
cool.
kind of get a recreation or a depiction of what Dylan Mortensen may have
Hey,
seen
Dale.
that night of November 13th,
If in fact,
if in fact it is him.
if it's him.
If it is him.
All right,
So-
so let's take a look at that. Do we
Let's
have
take a
it?
look at that depiction of what that may have looked like over his face. There you go. So you see it fits almost perfectly. And you see the eyebrows are very visible. His eyes are visible. That's her description of what she may have saw, given if it was him.
No, right. And so this type of mask, and when I was thinking of the mask, I didn't know if it was the kind that had the 2 circles for the eyes.
Right.
That's like old school. This is more of a new school. But what's so prominent in all that are the eyebrows.
The eyebrows.
They're like almost jumping through the screen at you.
Incredibly
Right.
visible, because there's the defense is questioning whether she could have even seen them in the dark or if the mask was covering them up. But as we see on our depiction there, they are visible.
And when did he purchase those?
January.
In January. Okay, so this is months beforehand.
10 months before, and we also know in another recent filing that the prosecution says off his Amazon click history, that's when he allegedly purchased that K-bar knife around March of 2022. So the mask comes January 2022, the knife comes March of 2022, both over 8 months before those alleged murders occurred in November of that same year.
Now, what's it?
Totally collecting things. Totally collecting things. Right, Donnie? Collecting items he's read about. Yeah. Because he was studying criminology or whatever you want to call it. Wow. Did you have a good weekend, Gail? G'day, mate.
Interesting is following where he is, right? Because he's not moving out to Washington State until the summer for the new school year. So this stuff, I guess, must have been sent to his home in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, absolutely. That's where if you look at that certificate of authenticity one more time, you see it says on there, Pennsylvania, it wasn't Washington.
Okay. So so I guess what they would be arguing is that the planning could have occurred prior to him even going out west. And there, people have thrown out, why did he go out to Washington State? Did it have anything to do with the fascination of Ted Bundy, right? People have talked about that. We don't know. We don't know. But it seems prosecutors now are going to argue that the planning of this preceded him moving across the country, which to me is fascinating as well. Cody's going to stick around. Let's bring in our think tank tonight. Joining us, criminal defense attorney Eklund Mercy, retired criminal defense attorney Kirk Nurmi, and former federal prosecutor and president of the West Coast Trial Lawyers. We'll have to bring in the president of the East Coast one night. We'll have the East Coast, West Coast wars, Nima. All right. So I just want to get a number from you. I'm just going to really quickly. How important is this mask and the purchase of this?
You guys, I cannot help myself but to just say that the chick on the top totally looks like something out of Harry Potter. Is it just me? She totally looks like something out of Harry Potter.
This mask in terms of evidence? 0. Just give me a number, 0 to 10. Eklund.
It depends. I think they need.
I asked for a number, and you see, you can tell she's a lawyer.
I can't. It depends. It depends. It depends on what other evidence that you have. Because 9 months is a lot of months, and it was purchased during the winter months, so I need more. We need more information.
Okay, Kirk Nurmi, I guess you can give me a number and an explanation.
Well, as it relates to premeditation, the answer is 0. I mean, we're talking about a purchase of an item that is common in winter in Pennsylvania, and also having attended Washington State University, I can tell you that's not an uncommon item to have in Pullman, Washington. The people in Idaho are going to know that. As it relates to identity and those type of things, the fact that he's wearing a mask, then I give it about a 3, but it's really about a 0 as it relates to premeditation.
Wow. He's like, no big. She drew a picture of it. Okay, Nima Rahmani, your thoughts. Give me a number and an explanation, and then we're going to dive into this a little bit deeper.
Vinny, I love this evidence for the prosecution. I think it's a 7. I think the Amazon purchase of the knife is a 9. They're within a couple months of one another, so this is very helpful evidence for the state, in my opinion, and consistent with surviving roommate Dylan Mortenson's identification. I absolutely love it. I think it's helpful.
So,
what do you guys think? Like, do you feel like this would be, do you think that the jury, if you were to come in as a juror and hear this and see that this mask was purchased 10 months prior to the killings, would you as a juror think that was premeditated, considering he bought the knife a couple months later? Or would you just think, he probably bought it because it was wintertime and cold and he needed one? I don't know. Definitely the tie and the green sweater vest. Yes. And I don't know, Patricia, because I didn't watch the Jodi Arias trial. I did not. Kel said, I think he was planning to commit a crime in the future. He just didn't know what exactly it was going to be. Yeah. That's kind of what I think. I think he was just putting together some little goodies and then was waiting on the person or persons. That's a good question, Donnie. I don't know that I've ever really. I don't think so. I wouldn't think so. Um, The mask, I don't think, is a big deal on its own, but then the knife, hopefully, they have more. Yeah. Good vibes. The mask alone, but with the knife, I would lean towards he did it. Maybe he was going to find someone on his drive cross country. Maybe. Ooh. You know what? That would make sense, Donnie. That would make sense. Because if he's, traveling cross country, he don't have any ties to any, you know what I'm saying? If he did it halfway across, then they would just be looking for people in that area, not him, you know? Good thoughts, good thoughts. Good thoughts. Okay, here we go.
Surprisingly, the two former prosecutors believe this is really good, important evidence, and our criminal defense bar here on the program tonight not agreeing. Here's my point, Eklund. My point is there's an eyewitness, describes a particular type of mask, okay? There's plenty of different masks out there, right? There's masks that go like, the COVID mask that people were wearing. You've got the mask that has just the little eyes sticking out like that. You've got a mask that could just be a bandana tied around here. But this is a very particular one that Dylan saw, described, and drew, and it matches with the type of mask that was purchased within the same calendar year by the defendant. To me, there's a consistency, there's a linkage to it, and it does expose the eyebrows.
That's where you lose me, because it's when Kohberger, when we saw the superimposed mask on Kohberger, we noticed the eyebrows, but we noticed blue eyes. So you mean to tell me you're going to, the first thing that comes at you is bushy eyebrows, but not the blue eyes. So that is more of a more identifying characteristic if you told me, hey, the eyewitness.
Well, but wait a minute, lady. You have to remember, Dylan, the person who ID'd or saw him, has pictures all over her walls in her bedroom of facial features, and the biggest thing that she focuses on in drawing is the eyebrows. So, she's saying basically, you mean to tell me that she's going to notice the eyebrows and not the big blue eyes? Well, but if she is into drawing faces and eyebrows is something she tends to look at, that's going to be what she would notice. Donnie says, I wonder if he has searches or a file on Bundy. Oh, probably. Who knows? I can't wait to dig into all the digital evidence and stuff in the trial. Oof. It was dark. You would see the eyebrows more. Yeah. His eyes are dark and soulless, even though they are blue. Yeah. But seriously, just for me, the fact that she focuses on drawing eyebrows to me tells me she's going to notice his eyebrows before she'll notice the color of his eyes. But that's just me.
And saw the color of the eyes versus just bushy eyebrows.
I don't know. All these straight on shots of him, that one was, he had, it's like it's jumping through the screen at me, Kirk, these eyebrows.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look, that's why I think, it has some relevance as it relates to the identification, right? But at the same time, a mask like that isn't that uncommon, Vinny. And remember the prosecution in OJ. You brought up OJ earlier. We're going to have shades of OJ's glove repeating itself, right? So
no, OJ was a whole different scenario, Kirk. There was a lot more at play than the glove in OJ Simpson. A lot more, and none of that is going to be a part of this case.
But let's face it, though. This black cat is not so uncommon in that area.
It's a balaclava.
How do you...
Balaclava. It's not just a hat. It's a balaclava.
Okay, I'll let you say it. I'll call the ski mask because that's all. I went to public school. Maybe Nima can pronounce those words. But listen, it's not that uncommon. So I say it works with ID, but it has nothing to do with premeditation. I think this idea that he bought this mask and he was doing this all to plot this murder, maybe that's something that the state can argue at the sentencing phase. They can have a psychologist argue that as a data point, saying he became obsessed with murder and studying murder. I would agree with you if we're talking about that. But a simple black ski mask that is not distinctly uncommon in that area, I don't think that's going to move the needle for the state as much as you're saying. Now, yes, combined with other circumstantial evidence, certainly it helps, but is it going to be a huge help? Nah, I don't think so.
Nima, could you imagine if...
I wonder if they have anybody that can say that he wore that type of mask often in the winter. You know, or if people would be like, I've never seen him wear one of those ever, and it be the coldest day in the history of ever, then, you know, I'd be more apt to think, you know, premeditated. But
Dylan described a different type of mask than was purchased by the defendant, we'd have these two jumping up and down, right? If it was one of these masks, right, with just the eyeballs, they'd be saying, look, it's not even the same mask, but it is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is, Vinny, and the defense would have a field day with it. Look, there's different ways to defend a murder case, and Kirk's been talking about this, but one of them is identification, right? You're saying it wasn't me. I think that's what the defense is here. They're not saying that this was self-defense or this was, a passionate manslaughter type case. They're saying that Bryan Kohberger was not at the scene of the murder. So you got the DNA on the knife sheath. That was purchased. You got the identified ski mask. That was purchased. You got the selfie the next day with the bushy eyebrows, right after he maybe cleaned up after the murders. These are all important pieces of identifying evidence. In addition to the cell site.
Oh, well, now wait a minute. He cleaned up, of course he cleaned up after the murders, right? That's a photo of him after he cleaned up after the murders, allegedly. It's a bathroom selfie in front of the shower. Wet hair. And a big thumbs up. Mm-hmm. Creepy much? I know, right, Kel? It's a gross photo of him. Ugh. So it was his first year at WSU, right? The Red Rums happened in November. It's not that bitterly cold in that area yet. I don't know if it was his first year there. I really can't remember. Oh, those were earbuds he had in. Yeah, see? They're earbuds. Yep. And this photograph, according to the metadata, was approximately 6.5 hours after the murders had been committed. The murders occurred in the 4 a.m. hour, and this was at 10:30 a.m. the same day. And look how bushy his eyebrows are there. And if he was as pasty looking, because he looks super pasty. Those eyebrows are going to pop. And again, if he's got blue eyes, you sure can't tell it. They look black as coal. But he would have purchased the mask. He purchased the mask in January of 2022. The murders didn't happen for another 10 months in November. That's what I think, Cherie. I think that's exactly what I think. He does have very deep set eyes, especially in that photo of his in the bathroom. Yeah. Even if I blow that picture up, I don't see his eyes very good, and I don't see blue. Right, I don't either. Yeah, Kel, I know. Gives me the creeps, too. Ugh.
And the vehicle surveillance video that we've been talking about. So these are all things that put him at the scene of the murder. This is all very helpful for the state. So I agree with you, Vinny, on this one.
Yeah. All right. Eklund, do you think... Now, he took a selfie, and prosecutors want to use that selfie to show his bushy eyebrows on that day. How large will his eyebrows loom inside that courtroom?
I don't know how long. I don't know how long his eyebrows are going to loom in the courtroom, but I'm really going to, it's all about jury selection. It's all about, you have no idea what the jury is going to find important, what they're going to find,
But everything's matching. Nothing is inconsistent. Like, everything fits.
It's convenient. I don't think it fits. I think it's convenient. I think that once we actually
Like, look
see
at
the
Kurt's
trial,
eyebrows. I would not call them bushy. I would call them, dark, full. But like his, there's something else about him. I think it's part of it is because his eyes are set a little bit deeper, and they kind of come over. And that's what she noticed that night. Like, she is looking right at him, and that's what she remembers. And the photos of him, you see him.
people have bushy eyebrows.
I know.
Lots of people.
I know.
Plenty
Lots
of
of people
people.
buy masks. Lots of people have.
He can shave them all he wants, but there's going to be photos of him. I know that they're trying to, the state wants this photo of him. The state is arguing for this photo of him to be shown in evidence to show bushy eyebrows. Because this is the soonest picture that they have after the crime, and based on what Dylan Mortenson's testimony will be about bushy eyebrows, they want this photo of him to be displayed in evidence, to corroborate, or whatever you want to call it, that. So, we'll see if that happens. The defense is trying to say he doesn't even have bushy eyebrows, but they don't want that term mentioned in court because it could identify him, right? Yep. I need to work on an emoji eyebrow. An eyebrow emoji.
have white Hyundai
Yes.
Elantras. Lots of people buy knives. Lots of people's phones, are turned off for 2 hours during the course of a murder. Lots of people go driving at night to go stargazing to a park that is closed.
Right.
Lots of people do. Lots of people drive by the scene of a murder in the morning, coincidentally. Right? There are probably tons of people doing that. Like, everything has fit in this case, Kirk.
Yeah, I mean, I could say Vinny is basically saying all of these things because she said, I don't think it fits. I think it's just coincidence or whatever. No, not all of it. Maybe if it was just one or two things, but everything that Vinny's just spewed is a package. It's all a package. It all fits together like a nice, neat little puzzle, right? To me, it does, anyway.
Everything.
Now, this is December the 15th. This is when him and his dad are headed cross country. Yeah.
I did it. I left Nermi speechless. You froze on us, Kirk.
All the evidence you just mentioned, I think that's more powerful. Is I just don't.
All right, we're having a slight audio problem with Kirk, but I think it was what I said, right? I think it was what I said. Anyway, all right, don't go anywhere, folks. When we come back, was the suspect in Idaho studying how to commit a crime? We'll talk about that, plus coming up next hour.
Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates.
Okay, let me fast forward through. Oh, this is when he graduates. Ugh.
Bryan Kohberger.
That was the accused Idaho killer in a recording of the 2022 DeSales University commencement ceremony posted on YouTube. The suspected killer was studying criminal justice at DeSales before moving to Pullman, Washington, across the country to study criminology at Washington State University. And we're learning now that prosecutors want to bring in some evidence from the accused killer's time at DeSales. Still with me, breaking it all down, Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas. Okay, so this is something we've talked about since the beginning of this case, right? He's a criminology guy. He's criminal justice. What sort of background does he have? So it seems like prosecutors want to use some of this.
They want to use some of his homework, actually, Vinny. He had this 12-page final exam at DeSales that pretty much looked over crime scene scenario practices. And Vinny, I'll tell you, it was very detailed. And it seemed as if the professor gave them like a mock scenario and they'd walk through from arriving to the scene all the way till the finish, collecting evidence and all of that. So within this 12-page exam, I picked out 3 big chunks that seemed pertinent to this investigation. So first comes under the tab of arriving at the crime scene. He says in his final exam report, I should gather the following information in my notes as the investigation commences, which will later be included in my preliminary case report when the details of the case culminate. The offense, the time of day, date, and approximate time of the offense, if known, identification of the victim, the location of the offense, the method of operation, if known, and the identification of the officer. Since the offender was not there, I would be unable to record this information initially, and the specifics of the crime won't be known until confirmed by the crime lab. And Vinny, I thought that part was important because he also was not at the location of his alleged offense. Goes on in this part, getting the approximate time is important and can be indicated by rigor mortis, which sets in at about 12 hours, or putrefaction, about 10 to 20 days. All this information will aid me as I attempt to reconstruct the scene of the crime based on the evidence location in relation to its former known position.
So this is a guy who is studying, from the other end of it, right? So if he committed this crime, he's not.
Yes, I forgot about that part. I actually want to find that. I want to find that and maybe go over that with you guys one day. Wouldn't that be fun? Ooh, that would be interesting. His homework.
Now someone who has studied how the investigators are going to approach all this and what they're going to do, how they're going to try to figure out who did it.
Absolutely.
You wonder, like, did he pursue this because he wanted to commit a crime? And again, presuming that he did it, right? He's presumed innocent, but for purposes of the argument and what prosecutors believe here, did he study this stuff and try to learn this stuff to see if he could do and get away with it?
As if he had some ulterior intention behind it.
Right.
Now, from that section, Vinny, he goes on to kind of talk about specific equipment he'd have, a lot of technicalities, gloves and cameras and things like that. Then it moves along to the section titled Entering the Home for Crime Scene Documentation. Now, under this section, he says, quote, anything that is fiber-free and covers the mask or covers the mouth, hair, and overall body would be helpful in avoiding crime scene contamination, since hair, saliva, skin cells, and other bodily fluid or cells may be added to the scene, thus contaminating it.
Let's hold right there for 1 second. So investigators don't want to contaminate by leaving any evidence of themselves there, the same way a killer would want to prepare yourself for this scene to not leave anything behind.
You see how all the dots are sort of somewhat connecting?
I see it now.
And then continuing there, he says, even if we can't assume that there was an offender, despite seeming obvious, preventing contamination is an important way to ensure the integrity of the investigation and evidence. We should always treat the crime scene as if there is indeed a criminal homicide, as to not miss out on important details. That is how this crime scene is being handled. So again, it seems like he has a full understanding of how important it is to not bring outside contamination, whether from the offender or the investigators, try to keep everything secure.
And he is studying a homicide scene here, right?
Absolutely. That's the mock scene.
This is not a burglary. It's not a break-in. This is a homicide scene that he's talking about.
And the important part of this last section, Vinny, under the collection of items of evidence tab. So he goes on, talks about a little more technicalities, but you brought up the scene that he's studying. The mock scene involves a deceased woman and evidence that is surrounding her, including a knife. So it goes on under this section. Under this section, it says, like the crime scene photography, larger items of physical evidence are taken first. Now, I want to stop right there, Vinny, because we know his murder weapon was never found.
Right.
Based on this right here, he knows that large physical evidence is going to be taken first at a crime scene. So continuing on, this includes the disheveled furniture and children's furniture, cell phone and computer if there, the knife, and coat hanger. The knife should be examined for latent fingerprints to be logged separately. Same with the coat hanger, doorknobs around the house, upended furniture, cell phone, and virtually any physical evidence big enough to grab. Crimes of passion are rooted in emotionality and impulsivity. If this is the case, we can likely count on there being latent fingerprints on the doorknob and all over the knife and victim. And what do we know was found at the scene in his particular alleged murder scene, Vinny? That sheet with DNA that was collected that matches his.
Yes. He also mentioned cell phones there, which is interesting, right? So cell phone evidence, they have some cell phone evidence, but they don't have him at the scene through his cell phone, because apparently his phone, according to prosecutors, was either turned off or put into airplane mode in the window of time when the murders took place. Cody, great job as always. Thank you so much. Let's bring...
That's what I think, Patricia. Patricia says he probably wore coveralls and stripped them off into a trash bag outside his car. He probably had another layer underneath. That's what I think. Or he could have very easily, you know, just stripped him off, like, even before the car. You know what I mean? But at some point, I think he ditches all of the stuff, the clothes, probably even shoes, everything, and the knife, of course. And the knife. So. That's one reason why I wanted to go through that list of items was to see if they recovered if they seized a mask that's identical to the one that he purchased. If it's not there, if they can't locate that, then where is it? Bryan.
Back in our think tank, still with us, Eklund Mercy. Joining us on the phone telephonically right now, Kirk Nurmi and Nima Rahmani's with us. I'm going to go to the telephone first. Kirk from Phoenix, you're on the line. Kirk, let me ask you, what do you think a jury will do with this type of evidence if they hear it? And I'm talking about evidence that this guy is studying criminology. This guy is studying criminal justice. This guy is doing reports.
Donnie, I'm not sure, but I think that they had talked about like those full Carhartt or Dickies brand. He had purchased Dickies brand, like black overalls. Did they just say Bert and Ernie? What? Hold on, I gotta rewind it.
And taking this, and I'm talking about evidence that this guy is studying criminology. This guy is studying criminal justice. This guy is doing reports and taking classes about crime scenes, a homicide crime scene.
Look, I think it would be powerful evidence for the state if it's admissible, because the jury would start piping together.
Whoever it was that asked earlier if it was the same one that represented Jodi Arias, it is. Here it says criminal defense attorney represented Jodi Arias, Kirk Nurmi.
Promoted that he was obsessed with murder and wanted to see if he could get away with one, which is why I think we'll see the defense move to keep it out as being overly prejudicial. I think it's something the jury could consider and say if there was a psychological profile at sentencing phase, and it could be hugely damaging to Mr. Kohberger's chance of getting a life verdict. That phase when you're talking about psychological profiles, et cetera. But when you're talking about a homework assignment, the facts probably dictated by a professor, some of those things that Cody talked about, they're not really attributable to Mr. Kohberger. So I would think it'd be overly prejudicial and probably something that the jury shouldn't hear.
Nima, what are your thoughts here? And a lot of people, we've been talking about this since the beginning. There's no connection between the suspect and the victims here. There's no interpersonal connections that we know of at all. It seems like it's like a sort of not a serial killer, right? But along those lines, someone killing because they want to, right? Killing for the thrill of it or for whatever reason. Do you think this plays into it? Does he have some sort of an obsession? Like this is all he can think about is crime and murder, and he's studying it in school, and then he is allegedly living it out in real life?
Vinny, he may have an obsession with one or more of the victims or just murderers in general. I mean, part of the problem with this case is the judge's overly broad gag order, which is starting to be loosened a bit, and the filings are becoming public. That's why this evidence is finally seeing the light of day after so much time. But, when it comes to this evidence, and Kirk talked about it well, and I'm sure Eklund's going to agree with him, it really comes down to the rules of evidence. And the good thing about Idaho, for the lawyers and law students who are watching, is they follow the federal rules of evidence. So, 401 is relevance, and Kirk talked about 403, which is it unduly prejudicial? Because this is going to be a 404B analysis, and we've talked about prior bad acts a lot, but this is evidence of his motive and his plan. So is the judge going to let it in? It's a close call. I think it should come in. That's the former prosecutor me. But given how conservative the judge has been in this case, and a lot of appellate courts have reversed convictions based on prior bad acts evidence coming in. Harvey Weinstein's a recent example. I think the judge is going to err on the side of caution, not let this in. And that might not be a bad thing, Vinny. As a prosecutor, it's not just getting the conviction or even the death sentence. It's having it withstand appeal. And you know there's those mandatory state and federal appeals in this case, assuming Kohberger is convicted and sentenced to death. So my guess is the judge keeps it out, but I think it should come in.
Yeah, and Eklund, I look at it based upon the other evidence that exists here. I don't think they need it per se, but I think for the families and everyone trying to figure out, why was my child murdered? Why did this guy allegedly choose my child to take out? And it may have, and it seems like it may have absolutely nothing to do with the victims and have everything to do with who this defendant is and what he was obsessed with. But in terms of putting it in front of the jury, I don't think the jury needs it. I think the family probably needs it more to try to come to terms with why this horrific crime happened.
Yeah, I don't think it's very helpful. I think that it may actually hurt the prosecution in some ways, in the sense that, hey, okay, we're saying that he's this mastermind, this cunning person who is very strategic, very organized, and who's been on this kick, who has been this has been planned, this has been thought of, and then to forget the sheath. I think that you kind of will set yourself up for kind of a failure. So if you're going to build him up to being this diabolical person coming in, one person being able to slaughter 4 people by himself, and with that being said, he forgot the sheath. We don't have a murder weapon,
I think that,
but he forgot the sheath.
I see exactly what you're saying. It's like he's the great killer, but he left behind the sheath with his DNA on it. All right, Think Tank staying with us. Big thanks to Cody Thomas. When we come back, we're going to talk about this man. Who is he? He's a former Olympic athlete, a world-renowned surgeon, but now he's a...
I know Morgana's been watching this trial. She was talking about it earlier, I think. The doctor accused of killing his wife. Yeah, has anybody else been watching that one? Okay. It looks like that's pretty much it. So I'm going to go back over here to this right here that I found on Idaho 6 News. Hold on real quick. Okay. This is a list of things that were seized from Kohberger's apartment. Okay. And we have one. It says all seized from residents and currently stored at WSU PD. One nitrite type black glove. One Walmart receipt with one Dickies tag. And I think that the Dickies tag is what goes to the like overalls. That's what I think. Anyway. Is it interesting? Donnie's watching it. Patricia said, I watched a review of that knife. It cut through leather and rubber like butter. But the chaos got to him and the sheath got left behind. Yeah. Oh, the defense attorney is brutal. Oof. Okay. 2 Marshall's receipts. Dust container from the Bissell Power Force vacuum. They took 8 possible hair strands. 1 Fire TV stick with a cord and plug. 1 possible animal hair strand. I know that they said that they collected what they thought may be like a dog hair. And they were going to, I don't know, I think they were going to try to see if it matched Murphy, Kaylee's dog. Items 8, 9, and 10 just says one possible hair. 11 says one possible hair strand. 12 is one computer tower. And then A is one collection of dark red spot collected without testing. B, 2 cuttings from uncased pillow of reddish brown stain, larger stain tested. And then C says 2 top and bottom of mattress cover packaged separately, both labeled C, multiple stains, 1 tested. So those were the things that were taken from his apartment. The website I was looking at says the warrant outlines what investigators were looking for at the residence, including blood, human or animal hair, weapons, images of the victims, DNA, clothing, and any data showing a tie to the victims, the King Road residence where the murders took place, or any interest in carrying out a violent crime. Those are the things that the warrant, what the investigators were looking for. The newly unsealed document shows investigators seized a computer, several hairs, and items that appeared to have dark red brown stains for testing. The receipts, the dust container from the vacuum, and a single black nitrite type glove. The search warrant reveals more details about what exactly investigators were looking for, including online searches related to other murders or stabbings, as well as how to avoid detection after the commission of such crimes. Officers were also looking for clothing, including dark shirts, dark pants, masks, and shoes with diamond patterned soles. As previously reported, a surviving roommate told investigators she awoke after 4 a.m. on November 13th and saw a man in their home wearing all black and a mask covering his nose and mouth. Investigators also found a footprint in the home with a diamond patterned sole, similar to the pattern of a Vans type shoe sole, just outside the door of the surviving roommate's bedroom. The document shows that investigators found a significant amount of blood from the victims at the crime scene, obviously, including spatter and cast off, which is a bloodstain pattern resulting from blood drops released from an object due to its motion. The officer stated, based on his training, that makes it likely that this evidence was transferred to Kohberger's person, clothing, or shoes, and since evidence indicates Kohberger returned home shortly after the murders, it is likely that he still had blood or other trace evidence on his person, clothes, shoes, including skin cells or hair from the victims or from Kaylee's dog, Murphy. Officer further explains that it's likely that trace evidence was transferred to areas in his apartment through contact with items worn during the attack. Well, but not if he tore them off and threw them away before he got home, in my opinion. It says authorities also searched Kohberger's office at Washington State University, but did not seize any evidence. Now we also have a full list of let me check your guys' comments real quick. Patricia says, I find it interesting that they collected the vacuum because in Dylan's interview, she said she thought he had a vacuum in his hand when she saw him. She said that? When did I don't remember her saying that he had that she thought that he had a vacuum in his hand. I remember Dylan saying that she saw something in his hand or that he had something in his hand. Huh. Oh, hey, C. Morales. I didn't see you pop in. Lovey, lovey, lovey. Oh, I'm sure they did, Cherie. I'm sure they did. Yeah. He may not have had a vacuum, but it is weird that she thought he had one. I wonder if that vacuum has a mini dustbuster type that detaches. I don't know, but now I swear I do not remember her saying that. Wow. You working and lurking today? Good deal. I love lurking and working. She thought he had a vacuum type object in his hand. Huh. Weird. Wonder what it would have been. I mean, who goes in to commit a murder with and has a vacuum in their hand, like a dustbuster? Who does that? That's crazy pants. Okay. Let me go back over. Now, there were several things that was taken from his parents' home, okay? We have a lot of things that were taken from his parents' house. Here it says the full list of items seized by Pennsylvania police from Bryan Kohberger's parents' house was revealed on Thursday and includes a knife, gun, ammunition, and a criminal psychology book. Kohberger was arrested at his parents' home in Albrightsville on December 30th after driving from Idaho to Pennsylvania with his father. Cops tied him to the gruesome quadruple murder of 4 college kids after tracking his white Hyundai to the scene. Police seized 63 items from Kohberger's parents' house. There was quite a bit of stuff that they took from here. We've got, it just says knife. Just knife. No description of it. No description of that one, but we know it's not the K-bar. A book with underlining on page 118. I wonder what that was. Because they said it was some kind of criminology book, right? Number 3 is AT&T bill for Bryan Kohberger. Glock and Smith & Wesson pocket knife. A folder containing vehicle paperwork. An Acer laptop. Green leafy substance in green container. Documents. Another green leafy substance in plastic bag. White paper with password, power cable, cell phone, 3 Glock magazines empty, books, a black face masks, prescription, black gloves, 1 black hat, 1 black mask. But I'm going to be honest and tell you that I really do not believe that I don't believe for 1 minute that they've found whatever mask he had on that night if he did this. I would be shocked. Cuz I personally think he ditched everything that he had on when he was in there. Shoes, the gloves, the mask, the outer clothing, probably even the second layer of clothes that he would have had on if he'd had on a second layer. You know, shoot, for all I know, he could have drove home buck naked. I don't know. But, I mean, that's doubtful, very. But, hey, Margaret. Hi, dear. I'm here. I made it. Okay, we've got personal identifying documents, New Balance shoes, let's see. I know they were looking for some shoes that had like a diamond-shaped pattern on the bottom to see if they could match to the latent shoe print. Dark colored jackets. More jacket, dark colored shirt, dark colored shirt, dark colored shirt, pants, clear plastic glove. One Asus laptop with this handwriting is atrocious. Oh, I think it says one Asus laptop with damage. Maybe. One HP laptop with probably damage again. Record of sale for a Glock. Wow. Notes in desk or note in desk. Criminal psychology book. Documents and DeSales University something. Three. Oh, 33. Number 33 is an extra large Columbia Navy fleece. A man's something. I can't read half of this stuff. Motherboard. Washington State University paperwork. Note from Bryan from Montana. Craftsman. Shop vac. Craftsman shop vac. Oh, you know what? I bet you he was using that shop vac to clean his car because we all know he meticulously cleaned that car out, didn't he? Medical documents. The handwriting is not great. No, it's not. Note to dad from Bryan. Maroon colored spiral notebook. Dark colored clothes. HP all-in-one computer. Lenovo laptop. I took a lot of computer stuff. Dark clothes and laundry basket. Taylor cutlery. Knife with leather sheath. But it's not the same. It's not. No. Nope. Swabs. They got 4 different swabs. And then the last 2 items looks like 2 pair of dark colored boots and 1 pair of brown boots. So. Ay. As far as the mask goes, like I said, I would be shocked if they found the mask that is the mask that he bought from Dick's Sporting Goods. I don't believe that they would have found that, you know. And that to me tells me, and that enough tells me. I mean, you can ask him, where's that mask? Oh, I don't know. I loaned it to somebody, but I don't remember who. Okay. Sure. It looked like dummy to me too, but yeah, damage makes more sense, right? I was like, dummy? Why is that? It looks like it said dummy. You big old dummy. Patricia says, I'm sure they had to collect any dark clothing they saw of his, but man, if they had to do that with me, and me too, they'd have to seize my whole closet, besides my coat of many colors. There'd be 100 black shirts. Everything I have, like, look, gray. And my pajama pants, here, I got pajama pants on. Look, even my pajama pant choices are like black and gray. I mean, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, my bra straps, my bra strap's black. I mean, everything I have is black or gray. Oh, well. Okay. I want to find. I think it would be cool to, but I gotta find it first. I've been over here on the side looking for it, but I cannot find it. When did this happen? Did y'all hear about this? It says North Carolina woman allegedly murdered Green Beret husband, concealed his death. Huh. North Carolina authorities have arrested a retired Green Beret's wife in connection with his disappearance and murder. Hold on, let me go over here. Let me open that up. Interesting. Very interesting. Shanna Cloud is charged with first-degree murder and concealment of death after authorities found her missing husband, Clinton Bonnell, in a body of water in Fayetteville after receiving a phone call in reference to human remains, the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office said in a press release. Bonnell, 50, had been missing since January 28th when a Methodist University employee requested a wellness check on Bonnell at residence in Fayetteville. Former Green Beret had been attending the university's physician assistant program and failed to attend class on the morning of January 28th. Upon deputies' arrival, they encountered Clinton Bonnell's wife, Shanna Cloud, who indicated she had not seen Bonnell since the day prior. Bonnell's vehicle, along with his school book bag and other items, were located at the residence. Later that same evening, Bonnell's friend contacted authorities requesting another wellness check, and authorities opened a missing persons case into his apparent disappearance. On January 30th, the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office unit executed a search warrant at Bonnell's residence. The next day, February 1, detectives traveled to Virginia and executed search warrants on Cloud's vehicle, rental property, and phone with assistance from Virginia State Police. Evidence that authorities collected while executing the warrant was transferred back to Cumberland County. In February, officials executed multiple search warrants for cell phone records, video footage, digital devices, and other digital data, which they analyzed and used to develop a timeline of events not only surrounding Bonnell's disappearance, but his whereabouts prior to his disappearance, the sheriff's office said. On Tuesday, February 25th, the sheriff's office received the call about human remains in the body of water in Fayetteville and began working to identify the remains through DNA testing. The Armed Forces Medical Examiner System on March 28th confirmed the DNA extracted from the remains matched Bonnell. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. We'll have to dig into that. We will have to dig into that. That sounds interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Let me see. C. Morales, I'm really not. I mean, I love color, but not on me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I love color. Well, I mean, it depends on what the things are, right? Like all the walls in my house are gray or light colored, you know? I don't have like splashes of color on my walls. But I love lots of color, just not on myself, on me. I'll wear things every once in a while that's got some color or pattern to it, you know. But I tend to, I guess, I don't know. Somebody once told me if you wear a lot of gray or dark, that means you're trying to be a wallflower. And I get it. I don't want to stand out. You know what I mean? Let me just blend in with everything. Oh. I had to mute myself and tell my Alexa to cancel because she plays music every day at 5:55 p.m. Anyway, I don't know. I'm interested in that North Carolina woman. Hmm. Have you guys seen this? Have you guys seen that? His photo looks familiar, but maybe I've seen it like just here and there. I don't know. I don't know. Hello. Okay. You guys will thank God I was wearing colorful clothing when I got stuck under the fridge. Like to blend into my surroundings, which is black, gray, and white. There you go. It does sound interesting, right, Patricia? Yeah. Sounds interesting. um yeah. I wanted to check out well, we had hold on, let me get my wits about me. Let me remind myself. It was last week whenever I'd asked you guys what you guys wanted to talk about. And I had listed a few things. We had talked about Bryan Kohberger, we had talked about Stephen Stearns, and then we had talked about Charles Vallow. Because Lori Vallow's trial will be starting, they're doing jury selection now. I don't know how soon or how quick that's going to go. But the last I heard, the judge had said that they anticipated around April 7th. So that's about a week. I think they were giving themselves about a week to get a jury together, right? So, I think that'll give us time to do a little bit of deeper dive into kind of just like a reminder or a refresher on Charles Vallow, who he was, how he died, that kind of thing, because that's what her trial is about this time. And she's representing herself. That's going to be so much fun to watch. But that's what she's on trial for in Arizona, is for the whole deal with, yeah, Gail. She did that to Nate Eaton from East Idaho News. Yep. Nate Eaton is the one, he's like the one reporter that has like reported on this since the very beginning. And for whatever reason, I mean, she added him to the witness list, and the only thing they can think of, yes, he's the one that went to Hawaii. Yes. Hey, Kayleen. Quick question. Would you ever represent yourself in a trial? Kayleen, great question. And no, ma'am. No, ma'am. Never. Never. And I don't know why anyone would. I don't know why anyone would. I honestly think that people who do that are the most narcissist of people, because they think that they can do a better job than an attorney. There's absolutely no way. No. Look at Alec Murdaugh. He's an attorney, right? He totally could have like been his own attorney, but no, he's smarter than that. Even an attorney won't represent themselves, right? So there you go. I don't know what else to. Everybody that we've watched defend themselves has been very narcissistic. But yeah, poor Nate. He went whenever they served her the subpoena, or served. It wasn't subpoena. What did they? Mm, what was it? They served her with papers telling her that she had like X amount of hours to um produce JJ and Tylee alive, right? And Nate Eaton was there whenever they went and served her with those papers. But her and Chad were just lounging poolside, just getting their suntan on. I would, as long as they guaranteed me some Pop Tarts. But yeah, that's the only thing that they're figuring. And I don't know what the judge decided, because they were supposed to have a motion today. They were going over because Nate basically had a lawyer write up something for him, basically requesting to be taken off of the list. Because there's no reason she would call him. The only reason she's doing that is because of the sequestration order on witnesses, because she don't want him in the courtroom. And I think that's just her way of being a big old bee. A heifer. A heifer. Heifer. Yep. Anyway, I think I want to, probably starting tomorrow, go over some Charles Vallow stuff. I want to go over Charles. There's a lot of body cam and like interviews. I know we've done those before a long time ago, but I want to do it again because I really want to get like refreshed. I want to refresh our recollection on Charles Vallow before the trial actually starts. So, all right, you guys. Hold on a minute. I'm getting a notification. Hold on, Poppy. Poppy's wanting out. Hold on. I'm gonna have to open the door and let her out. Okay, I'm back. She wants out, then she didn't want out. She changes her mind. She heard Kiddo running down the hallway, and I think she thought that Kiddo had food. And then she's like, okay, she don't have food, so now I want back in here. Yeah, Spins, we're getting ready to leave for the day, ma'ams. Getting ready to leave. My coffee's about gone. I got like one sup left. Now no sups. All right. Yeah, and I told husband I was only going to be about an hour and a half, so about an hour and 42 minutes. Kiddo's got to head to bed here very shortly, and we got to do dinner. Yes, Billy, she did. She went back to school today, and she's exhausted because we were up later than we needed to be because of the weather and storms last night. So she didn't get to bed as early as she should have. And so today's been a big day for her. And I know she's going to be ready to conk out any second. So I'm going to go ahead and scooch. But I do want to start tomorrow on Charles Vallow, okay? So that's what the plan will be, unless something more important and groundbreaking comes around. But yeah. Yeah, she had a great day, Billy. She did. She had a really good day. You too, Gail. Make sure that you guys hit that thumbs up button before you leave. Subscribe if you're new and you're watching on the replay. Put a hashtag replay in the comments down below. If you happen to subscribe, make sure to click that little notification bell. It's either up there or down there or down there or over there. I don't know which direction it is, depending on where you're at. But make sure to click the notification and the little all option so you get notified, okay? Okay. They were, Kayleen, and she was thrilled to see them. They were so happy to see her. So that was awesome. One of her teachers sent me a picture of her with little Minnie Mouse ears and sunglasses. It was so cute. All right. All right. I'll see you guys back tomorrow. I'm not sure what time. Just make sure you have notifications on. I'm hoping that with her getting back into the school routine, I'll be able to figure my mess out. So, anyway, I love you guys and I appreciate you. And I will see you tomorrow. Okay? Bye.